Before anyone thinks that the title for this video was too clickbaity, yes, I actually am worried about this. And I'm worried about it because, well, okay, I'm not expecting a huge amount of people to raise their hand, but does anyone remember midnight releases for books? Anybody? Midnight releases, Harry Potter books, 7th book, the 6th book. Yeah, I don't imagine a good bit of you out there do, but some of you probably have. Going to your local Walmart with your mom or your dad or your sibling, your friend, whatever, and you and like 100 other people would be lined up waiting to grab a copy of the newest Harry Potter book. Or maybe even Stephen King, but mostly Harry Potter because the series was just massive no matter where you were in the world. Walmart employees literally bringing out pallets of books and setting them in the aisles. Guys, I particularly remember, so when Harry Potter came out, especially this book, this is the reason I have this book out, is because this was the first Harry Potter book. Obviously, I know this one's pretty beat up, but it is the OG for me. When this book came out, The Order of the Phoenix, the local Walmart had, like I said, a ton of people eagerly awaiting for a book to come out. If you guys know Black Friday these days, you might go to your local Walmart and they'll have all of like the Black Friday deals sitting in the aisle, the pallets and stuff. Well, that was the Harry Potter books sitting in the aisles waiting for people to grab. I believe it was 2 copies is what you could get at the time at once. And usually we did get 2 copies because we had to share the book, obviously. Me, my mom, and my dad would read them all together. Where in the world have you heard of a huge midnight release for a book? It was on the news. Like, your local news would say, you know, whatever date the new Harry Potter book came out, people were lined up around the block. It was a true event centered around books. This video isn't about Harry Potter. Not really. Part of the reason for this video is to bring some awareness to this. Maybe even kindle some of that nostalgic warmth again with those of you watching this video that remember these times. It's not about the 500 million copies that Harry Potter sold, or even the 400 million copies that Goosebumps sold, R.L. Stine in all his glory. You know, no. Instead, I'm fascinated by the lightning in a bottle portion of all this. Will we ever have that again? What author, what book series will be the next one that captures the imagination, that captures the attention of not just book reading, book loving fans like me and yourself out there? Who's going to get the attention of, you know, the grandmas that don't read at all, but they're really interested in the series, or the moms or dads that, you know, we're not much readers, but we just had to try this book series out. When are we going to get that again? Are we going to get that again? And you guys might be, I can hear you already. Some of you are screaming, well, what about George R.R. Martin in that book series, The Game of Thrones? Great series, but we're waiting forever for the next book in the series, which is The Winds of Winter, which, yes, guys, when that book comes out, it will be a pretty big event, considering that the wait for that has been, you know, around 10 plus years. That might be a big deal, but no, really. Could it be The Winds of Winter? Could it be another entry into the Harry Potter series someday? Could it be, you know, a big R.L. Stine book by chance? And before anyone gets too mad at me for this, yes, Stephen King sells a lot of books. He has a very dedicated fan base, but Stephen King doesn't really write just, you know, one, you know, continuing series of books. He writes a lot of different books, you know, kind of like an anthology series almost. For instance, his new book, Holly, is more of like a detective, like maybe supernatural book, maybe some horror elements. Before that, he released Fairy Tale. Stephen King is great in that you never really know what you're going to get from him, but it's always going to be a pretty solid story. Could the answer to my question be someone like Brandon Sanderson? Speaking of, this guy maybe has a chance. Now, if you guys don't know who Brandon Sanderson is, safe bet you probably will in the next couple years. Now, those of you that don't know, Brandon Sanderson is hugely popular in the fantasy space, guys, but in general, to the general book-going audience, he's still a relatively unknown. He recently launched the biggest ever GoFundMe for a series of surprise secret novels that he wrote during COVID. I believe the original stretch goal for his campaign to fund these secret novels of his was about $1 million or so, and he times that by about 40 or 50 million. It was crazy the response that he got. The man has a dedicated fandom, and it's currently growing. It's not J.K. Rowling level or even Stephen King or George R.R. Martin level yet, but this guy is getting into the conversation. Or even not his books, just give his YouTube channel a quick look, because the guy is super, super hardworking and interacts fantastically with his fans. I say all of that to say this. The Brandon Sanderson fandom, it's a good time to get into it, guys. The biggest book he's ever released is about to drop that next year, probably late next year. It's the 5th book in this series. I know I just had these books out, but in the Stormlight Archive series, there's been 4 books so far. I'm currently only about halfway into the 1st book, and I'm loving it so far. But book number 5 is on its way out next year, and it'll be huge, but it won't be 7th Harry Potter book huge. With all that, Brandon Sanderson has sold 40 million copies, which, you know, on the surface, fantastic. Way more books than probably 99% of the authors out there will ever sell. But it still doesn't really hold a candle to the 400 million that Goosebumps sold, or the 500 million and plus, in counting books that R.L. Stein, that J.K. Rowling has sold with Harry Potter. And truly, guys, all of this comes back to my original point from the beginning of the video. Will we ever see this again? Yeah, the long lines at Walmart, almost assuredly not. We're not going to see that again, but a book series that is highly heralded across the world, that captures the imagination of millions of people, a book series where every entry that drops is an event. But my final answer to my own question is, it will happen again one day. A book series will be that big again someday. But it doesn't exist yet. Ultimately, though, guys, it's a discussion. It's a fun discussion to have. And I leave, this answer to you guys as well. Let me know in the comments, who's going to be the next author? Maybe they're already out there writing books, and maybe it just hasn't hit my radar or hit several other people's radars. But let me know what you guys think. Who will capture the minds and hearts of everyone again? Is the author out there already? Who's it going to be? Let's discuss it. Let me know, guys. Please remember to like and subscribe, become a part of the community, and let's have some fun chatting everything books. In the meantime, guys, please feel free. Check out some of my other content, fantasy reviews, Goosebump reviews, top 10 lists, top 5 lists, and other things. Reading is everything. Thank you so much, guys. See ya.